It's my pleasure and honor today to introduce Governor Bentley. The governor will be the next chairman of SSEB. I was elected at the same time the governor was elected to the House, along with Randy Davis and Cam Ward. We all came in together, and we had a great group of people that were determined to take Alabama forward. We were all on the same page, and I think you can see the leadership positions that all of these men are in now. So we've been very successful. It's kind of odd that Governor Bentley is the 53rd governor of the state of Alabama, and he's speaking at the 53rd annual meeting of the Southern States Energy Board. So he's right on target and right on time for this day. Governor Bentley promised that he would not accept a salary until he put Alabama back at full employment. Well, I want you to know that I don't think it will be long that he will have a salary. When Governor Bentley took office, our employment was 9.3%, our unemployment. As of July 2013, our unemployment is 6.3%. And I want to tell you also, there's a side of Governor Bentley that you're all going to learn, and you're going to love him for it. We had a tornado that came through Alabama. Over 60 tornadoes, I believe, Governor. 62. 250 people killed. The largest disaster we've ever had, and it went from north to south. Governor Bentley was right there all the way, making sure the people had what they needed. He set up a fund for those that didn't have their means to recover. And I rode in caravans in North Alabama, in my area. Governor Bentley would personally talk to and help these people. He is a governor that, as you get to know him and you talk to him, you'll know he's speaking from the heart. That's what our people like about him. He's a man of vision. He's a man of determination to achieve his goals. And the people of Alabama truly love our governor. And you remember I said this. Next year, in the 2014 election, I'm predicting that he will not even have an opponent. Now remember I said that. I also want to talk to you about the changes he's made in our government. He promised to downsize government, fine-tune our government. He said he would reduce government spending by $1 billion in his first term. He's almost there, with 1 year left to go. With the help of our rolling reserve budgeting and all of the good fiscal government that Governor Bentley has led, we have paid back several $100 million into our rainy day trust fund. That trust fund was at zero when he took office. We are almost there as far as repaying it in full, and that is in a bad economy. That's why we're giving tax incentives and creating jobs. Creating those jobs will bring in more revenue, as the governor has preached all along, and he's proven that. I also want to tell you that as I know we're running a little behind, I'm going to be short here, but as you get to know this governor and you get to know his vision and his leadership and his personal skills, not only will everybody in this room want to hire our football coach, but you're going to want to hire Governor Bentley. It's my privilege and honor to introduce to you the governor of the great state of Alabama, the Honorable Robert Bentley.
It's a pleasure for me to be with you today. And, you know, we've got, Mickey didn't talk about what a great job our legislature does because he's part of that, and I've been a part of that. But all of us working together has been, and the people of the state and all our businesses and everyone working together. That's the reason things have done so well. You know, when you're governor, you get blamed for a lot of things. I guess you ought to take credit for a lot of things when they happen good, because you always get blamed if something happens bad. So, but it's not just me. It's so many things. So many of our legislators who are very pro-business, and I just appreciate that. Mickey's a part of that. I have served with him and Randy and Cam and others. But I want to thank you for letting me be here today, and also to be the upcoming president for the Southern States Energy Board. It seems as if we are kind of rotating chairmanships. I am presently the chairman of the Interstate Oil and Gas Compact Commission, and Governor Bryant will be the chairman of that next year. You're the chairman this year of the Southern States Energy Board. But we have a lot of things in common. You know, both those organizations have a lot of things in common. But I do appreciate the leadership of Governor Bryant this past year, Governor Fallon the year before. Both are just outstanding public servants for the country. You know, I do believe that most of the strong leadership in America comes from the states. And I'm a strong supporter of our states. I'm a strong supporter of states' rights, and that's not in a negative way. I believe that that's how our country was founded, and if the federal government would look at the states, they'd learn how to run things. I really do believe that. Abundant and affordable sources of energy are crucial to having a very strong economy. It helps us compete on a global marketplace. It strengthens our communities. It helps us recruit good jobs to our states. It fuels innovation and research, and it improves our quality of life. I want you to know that you have my word that I will dedicate this next year as chairman to supporting the roles of the states, and I just said that. I will ensure that the Southern States Energy Board provides strong leadership on the state level and at the federal level. At our business session this afternoon, in just a few minutes, we'll consider several resolutions to strengthen our position as a region, to make our views known to Congress and to the administration in Washington. Revenue sharing from offshore energy development, speeding up the process leading to oil and gas exploration and development along the Atlantic Outer Continental Shelf. Also expediting the licensing and permitting of liquefied natural gas, and encouraging EPA to create reasonable standards for carbon dioxide emissions from coal and gas-fired generating units. Our resolutions are important because they show our commitment to responsible management of our energy resources, and they show our commitment to economic development all across the South. I want to spend a few moments today talking to you about some projects that we have underway in Alabama and sharing with you some of my perspectives on energy development. You know, Alabama's been in the oil and gas business since 1945. That's as old as Nick, too. And isn't that right, Nick? We produce natural gas in Mobile Bay and much of our Gulf waters. We produce oil and gas in southwest Alabama and as far north as places like my home county and Nick's home county, Tuscaloosa. Also in the Birmingham area. We even have oil wells over in Pickens County, and most of you don't even know where Pickens County is, but we have oil wells over in much of our rural parts of the state. Alabama has significant potential for natural gas. And, you know, we have shale formation, and we've done some exploration of that. We're exploring also opportunities, which I'll deal with in just a few minutes, in some other areas. Our state oil and gas board and its state counterparts around the country are the agencies that have the best expertise and local knowledge to oversee the development of energy resources. We also understand the importance of safety. Just like Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, and Florida, one of the major issues affecting our coast is the long-term recovery from the Deepwater Horizon explosion and oil spill. We've suffered major economic damage from the spill, and the assessments continue regarding the long-term injuries to our ecology and also to our environment. We've announced a series of environmental and economic recovery projects that will help us recover. And we've learned many lessons from this spill. We also know this, that while there is promise for alternative sources of energy in the future, we know that, at least for the foreseeable future, we depend on sources like oil, natural gas, coal, and other traditional fossil fuels. They're not only crucial to our economy and our people's way of life, they are crucial to our national security. So we understand now more than ever our need for these resources and the need to develop safely and responsibly these resources. Gatherings such as what we're having here today help us in a positive way get to those goals. We can share ideas, we can share practices and best practices together. We can learn what works well in other communities and apply them to our own. I believe that we'll all leave here with a better idea of how we can develop these resources in a way that serves and benefits our states. One of the latest avenues we're exploring in Alabama is part of an agreement with our friends in Mississippi. This summer, I signed a memorandum of understanding with Governor Bryant commissioning an assessment of oil sands from north central Alabama into northeastern Mississippi. The primary formation we're studying is called the Hartselle Sandstone. Various studies have been conducted over the years regarding the Hartselle Sandstone. The most recent study from the 1980s estimated that there are 7.5 billion barrels, that's billion, that's a lot of barrels, of oil located in these reserves. The assessment we're conducting in a joint effort between the Southern States Energy Board, along with the Geological Survey of Alabama, the Oil and Gas Boards from Alabama and Mississippi, as well as the Mississippi Development Authority and the Mississippi Office of Geology. This assessment will continue. The assessment will include an updated estimate of oil reserves, along with a review of the infrastructure needed to support the industry. I believe we can also learn from best practices from our friends in Canada. Last December, the Southern States Energy Board helped sponsor a delegation from Alabama and Mississippi, and members of this delegation traveled to Alberta for a first-hand review of oil sands extraction that's underway there. Some might find it surprising that this group of Southerners would go to northern Alberta in December when it was negative 20 degrees below zero. But still, they were able to study the operations and get high-level briefings and perspectives from government officials, industry representatives, and even environmental groups. They were also able to visit the national lab there that's devoted to oil sands research. And they spoke with researchers and other experts at the University of Alberta. I think Representative Hammond, I think you went on this trip, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
And Dr. Nick, too, went, who's our state geologist. Did anybody else from Alabama go? Okay. Randy, you went? Good. It's good to go on junkets, isn't it? I'm kidding. Research, that's right. But what y'all learned will have a profound impact, I think, as we study this resource and discover the potential for more responsible development. I believe I was told, as head of IOGCC, that there are really only 3 pockets of oil sands in the Western Hemisphere, Alabama, Utah, and Alaska. Am I not right, Dr. Tu?
Those are 3 big ones.
3 big ones, maybe some little ones, like over in Mississippi. Yeah. Governor Bryant wasn't paying any attention to me, was he? Yeah. Responsibility and good stewardship must remain, though, the core of everything that we do. We need to develop the energy. We need to protect our communities, and I see no reason that we can't do both. I have great confidence that those who are conducting this assessment, that they will explore the resources in a way that's safe and responsible. The Southern States Energy Board is on the forefront of these issues that are like this, and all other types of energy development. This group isn't just talking the talk. We have technical staff and experts with boots on the ground, and we're leading the way. Southern states are uniquely equipped to develop best practices and to explore sources of energy for the future. We have incredible oil and gas resources that are being developed in innovative ways. Our region supplies the rest of the country with 59% of the natural gas. And overall, the United States is meeting more of its own energy needs. Technology developments in oil and gas drilling have helped us accomplish much of this progress, and especially over the last 5 years. And we want to be sure that we have the appropriate policies and permitting processes in place. We need a strong but fair regulatory framework in place to be able to access these resources for economic development. Another major priority is coal and protecting coal. Our region uses a significant amount of coal in our energy mix. In Alabama, we produce electricity in 4 ways. Coal is number 1, natural gas number 2, nuclear number 3, and hydroelectric is number 4. And that's the way we produce electricity in Alabama. In fact, coal accounts for 44% of the electric generation in the southern states overall. And 2 of our states, Kentucky and West Virginia, more than 90% of their electricity is produced from coal. The EPA, we always get on the EPA, don't we? But they must consider more strongly the economic impacts of regulations that would hurt our coal facilities. The EPA must also consider the impacts on the reliability and affordability of energy. And the EPA needs to remember the role of states and the crucial impact that we must have in this regulation. The EPA should not overreach. Rather, I believe the EPA should listen to the experience and the expertise that we have here in the states. We understand the importance of energy in our communities. We understand the jobs that are at stake, the livelihoods of our residents, the future of our industries. We know that when companies look for a place to set up shop and create jobs, they look for places that have reliable sources and reasonably priced energy. We understand the challenges that we face on the state and local levels. We know about the need for responsible development. We all have an obligation to stay involved and attuned to the EPA rulemaking as it occurs. And I ask you to join me in standing up for the resources of energy so that we know those crucial resources will always remain viable in our states. There is an energy revolution in the South. We're the only region nationwide where 4 nuclear power generators are under construction, and 1 additional unit is being completed. Liquefied natural gas exports offer another exciting opportunity for the South. We also see that in certain parts of the South, not in Alabama, but in certain parts of the South, wind energy can be harnessed. Of course, it is hot in the South, so solar energy could be harnessed. We do have biomass. We do not have geothermal sources, though. So those are some things that, unfortunately, the federal government looks at when they tried to pass the American Clean Energy and Security Act. They tried to replace the things that we have in the South with those things. And we just don't have those available in the South. So I think that certainly would have been a detriment to the South. The best way that we can approach these opportunities is to work together and recognize the knowledge and the skills that the states have in addressing these issues. As I said before, I'm looking forward to being your chairman this coming year. I believe our work will lead to greater economic development and prosperity for our region. And I'm ready to work with all of you as we meet the energy challenges that lie before us. I want to thank you very much.